To Politics Nation. Yesterday, as the president appeared on Fox and Friends to talk about the 9/11 anniversary and the murder of Charlie Kirk, he also announced the latest target of his federal crackdown on crime. Take a listen.
Maybe I'll be the first to say it right now again. We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
That's the next city.
Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. And we'll straighten that out.
National Guard.
National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it.
While Trump claims both Tennessee's Republican governor and the Democratic mayor of Memphis have asked for intervention, the mayor says he's done no such thing. And while he welcomes federal help, that doesn't mean he wants to see troops in his streets. He joins me now, Memphis Mayor Paul Young, a Democrat. Mayor Young, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Had you heard anything from the administration before the president's announcement or since about what operations it intends to conduct in your city?
Yeah, well, the first I heard of it was on Monday when I got a call from the governor's office that this was potentially coming. I did have a call with the White House and asked them to shift the type of support that they bring to the city and align with the strategies that we have been implementing over the past 2 years. We've seen significant decrease in crime in our community. We've seen double-digit reductions in all categories, and we want to build upon the success that we've had. Investment in FBI, DEA, ATF, those traditional law enforcement partners that can take our investigations to the next level. That's the type of support that we had been talking about. The National Guard was something that we just found out about. It's not something that I believe is going to help reduce crime in our city. I think that the way to reduce crime is to invest in the things that are going to intervene and prevent crime in the first place and help us identify the small number of people that are wreaking the most havoc in our community.
Jeez, these Democrats, they constantly stay on code because instead of, Memphis ranks as one of the top U.S. cities for the murder rate. And so they were the message was initially why does Trump want to send it to blue states? Well, he's going to Memphis, and even though Memphis is blue, the state is red. So, that kind of goes out the window that he's only sending it to like blue states. And for them to just say that they're bringing it down and they've had some success, the murder rate says different. The amount of shootings, the amount of lives lost, that says something completely different than what he's saying, as well as give us money, invest in some of the programs we have. You guys can't be trusted with the money. Giving Democrats some money is like giving, giving a crackhead money or something, or giving them drugs, saying, hey, don't use it for drugs. Don't use this money for drugs. And you know what they're going to use it for. This is, you can't give them any money. You can't trust them to do things correctly and make sure they're protecting the citizens, the residents of Memphis. And so that's why they're coming in. And not to mention, he's trying to play both sides though, but he won't be able to because the governor is a conservative.
Yeah, I suspect that's why the Trump administration shifted their focus from Chicago to Memphis, because Chicago is a blue city in a blue state. Whereas, as you just stated here, Memphis is blue city in a red state. Regardless, though, TR, Memphis, first of all, Memphis is a dope place to go, but there are places, Memphis is a FAFO type of city. You deal with the wrong people, you're going to find yourself in a real bad situation. And I think most people know that. Yeah. And most people boots on the ground. Look, we've already, there's tons of videos out there. I'm going to take this back to DC real quick. Because first of all, the mayor of DC recently came out and admitted that she's starting to see the benefits of what Trump was doing in DC. So she kind of deviated from the Dem playbook, because you're never supposed to give compliments to the competition. But
also, she didn't have a choice either.
Well, yeah, that's part of it too. She didn't have a choice because Did you see when Don Lemon was walking the streets and talking to people in DC and Maryland, places like that, and
Yeah, the
all these black
guy's
people,
fucking he's an idiot.
and that's basically what they told him. They was like, Don, you don't know what's going on here. You just know what the Dems are telling you. We live here. We
Yeah.
see this every day. This is something that's needed to be done. Which ironically, TR, is kind of weird because I remember in the early 90s, the Dems were the ones that were a little bit tougher on crime.
They had the crime bill Joe.
Yeah, I don't know where the shift came. Even Hillary, during her super predator speech, she was tough on crime even back then. So I don't get it. But Memphis is the FAFO type of city, and I pulled some quick statistics, TR, from multiple sites, mainly the Guardian, NBC. There was a huge peak in 2023, which was just a year and a half ago. It's been spiking up ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. And in 2025, ironically, this is just homicide. We haven't even gotten to the other types of crimes yet. There is a small decline, but the beginning of the year, there was a quick peak that jumped up, and they're just now starting to get it down and declining again.
Well, summer's over.
And it's funny that when you hear a mayor say that, okay, crime is down, don't you almost always hear somebody from the police union come out and say, no, that's not the case. These numbers are fudged. There's other things going on that's not being reported here. That seems to be a reoccurring theme, TR. So I got to call into effect how much of this is political pride? How much of this is somebody saying that they're failing at their job and they're not admitting it? Like how much of this is factors into all of that? How much is this? I just want to make my party look good and I don't care about the consequences. I'm really stuck on situations like this when it comes to questions like that.
Yeah, I would also say we've known Memphis to be a city where there has been a lot of death and bloodshed just from violence just in certain areas of Memphis. That said, I don't understand why the governor is now just taking action on this, other than Trump asking him, which he's not going to say no, obviously, though, but it is not a good look that one of your major cities is suffering like that, and now you're starting to pay attention. So if they want to bring that up and have that conversation, fine, because I think that's all, I think that's within bounds, and it is a major city in Tennessee. So for the people thinking that, Memphis shouldn't get any smoke, or Memphis has been doing well, we're not having that conversation today. This is more or less to, save lives in that community, and also make it one of those cities where you can go there and take your family and enjoy the scenery without having to worry about, is there going to be any type of violence? Is there certain areas we can't? I mean, it's funny when people talk about sundown towns. Some of these places you can't even wear certain colors. So I don't know why people bring that whole sundown conversation into it, because some of these places you can't even go there, after the sun goes down, or wear certain types of clothing in those neighborhoods.
Right. It reminds me. So the first time I went to Chicago, right, I was wearing an Arizona Sun Devils hat, which has a pitchfork on it.
Mhm.
Mind you, I'm not from Chicago. And fortunately, I was fortunate enough to meet somebody who put me on the game. It was like, you don't want to wear a pitchfork in this town. It means something you don't want to be associated with.
Jeez.
Like he told me from the jump.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So what happens is, particularly when you have a tourist, they go to these places, they don't know the culture, they know the customs, practices, whatever. And white folks can kind of get away with it to a certain degree because they're not perceived to be a part of this gang culture. But people like us, TR, it's not necessarily the same story. And the thing is, if you opt out of that lifestyle, you should be able to fully opt out of that lifestyle without any consequences. So it becomes a problem when you have cities, because Memphis and Nashville are both, like, tourists like to go there. Like Memphis has this barbecue festival that's really, really dope, and it brings in a lot of travelers and stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm wondering why this guy who's the mayor ain't trying to protect the bag, ain't trying to protect an economic impactful event such as this. He seems more focused on political pride.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me start right there, Mr. Mayor, because in several cities where Trump has either deployed federal troops or flirted with the idea, crime has been trending downward, in some cases substantially. And though you still have one of the highest murder rates in the country, which you've acknowledged as mayor, The Memphis Police Department also just reported that crime in the city is at a 25-year low.
This dude just said they both acknowledged that you have one of the higher murder rates in the city. That's why I don't get these people. That means people are constantly dying. These are probably mainly kids that are dying in the murder rate. Teenagers, whether the one pulling the trigger or the bullet found them, they're the ones that are losing their lives the most. And then we can spin off into the other crime like like assaults and carjackings and stuff like that though. But these guys acknowledge that there is a issue with the crime in Memphis, and they're trying to like, or crime is coming down, and they're really talking about from pandemic highs. And so they're talking about crime is coming down from pandemic highs, and then crime is still high though. So it's not you're just going back to where you were before the pandemic, which is still a terrible number. And the people are still losing their lives. The funeral homes, they're staying in business. The prisons, they're staying in business as well too. So they acknowledge that there's a problem here. They just don't want Trump to come in there and clean up the city in a quicker fashion, because who knows how long this would have taken for them to even do anything. He probably would have still, I mean, I believe some of these mayors, some of these Democrat cities, they're incentivized to have their cities go to shit.
Yeah. This is equivalent to saying I took my grade from an F to a D plus. It's like almost a
Still
C,
bad.
but not quite there yet. You're still not really passing the course. And I think what we should do, I think I'm gonna do this in our social media accounts this week. There are compilation videos of people in Memphis saying, yeah, it's still pretty bad here. We need some help. We need some intervention and some resources here.
Yeah.
The Dems keep making this argument that in all of these cities that Trump is focusing on, well, crime is already declining, so we don't need you. I would like to hear more. I want to hear them expand more on what are they doing to drive that?
Yeah. What did you
Because
do? Yeah.
yeah, because at least when I hear Republicans talk about how they want to approach crime, one of the first things they say is we got to restore the family unit, because studies show that if the father and mother are in the same house, that's a significantly greater chance that you're going to raise a family that's less likely to be involved in activities such as these. I don't know what the Dems think they're doing, because right now, like, perception is reality, right? They are perceived as the party that's soft on crime. They are perceived as the party that
Yeah.
released people multiple times that probably shouldn't be released, and reduced sentences and things like that. And they're the party that likes to say that the system is racist.
Hmm.
And I want to hear them say, okay, so you got all these complaints and you're saying that you're declining crime in all of these cities. How are you doing it? I would love to hear that explanation, because I haven't really heard one yet.
Yeah. I can tell you what they're doing nothing, doing the same thing Brandon Johnson was doing, Karen Bass. I'm surprised they haven't gone to Atlanta yet. That should probably be next on the docket for them. Well, Atlanta has, I mean, they do have gang violence, but they have an STD problem down there too. So maybe you don't need the National Guard down there. But it's just weird that the people are so against that. And when you hear residents, when you start talking to people, just like you said with Don Lemon, they're saying there's some problems here. And Don Lemon, what he's trying to do, he's such a fucking ghoul too. There's a whole nother conversation there. But Don Lemon is essentially trying to like goad people into a certain direction. And he's supposed to be a journalist. You don't direct people, you don't lead people into an answer. You don't try to get certain types of reaction out of people. You just ask the question and they respond, and then you ask follow-up questions. You're the journalist. You don't try to be like some of these YouTubers out here who are trying to do this stuff for fun and make people look stupid. Like, that's not your job. You said you pride yourself on being a journalist. Start asking journalistic questions, and make sure you're asking it on both sides, not just because you want to hear a black person say out loud if they rock with Trump or not, or if a black person thinks crime is down or not. I don't see you going to these white neighborhoods doing stuff like that. He's only going to like black neighborhoods, and he's not going like deep into the black neighborhoods either. He's just going to certain black neighborhoods in the
Yeah.
daylight.
And truthfully, TR, one thing I've realized about crime is the police can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to police yourselves, because the police can't be everywhere every time, and they can't always be there. So I'm of the philosophy that you need to have a booming economy for number one. For number two, you got to restore the family. And for number three, you need to teach people how to properly conceal, carry, clean, maintain, and shoot firearms. And you need to pass fair legislation that
Hmm.
lets people defend themselves if them or their families are in danger. Those all seem to be Republican leaning principles. I'm still not quite sure what the Dem strategy is to reduce crime outside of saying everything is racist.
Well, one of the strategies is the no cash bail, and that's been a disaster. That needs to that needs to be rescinded. So, but
Yeah.
all right, yeah. Unfortunately, Memphis, I hope things work out for y'all because too many deaths, too many kids losing their lives.
I do too, because Memphis is a beautiful city. It really is. So I hope everybody stays safe, and I hope that at the end of the day, your government does what's best for you, for the people of Memphis.
Yeah. So, all right.